Good evening, friends, and welcome to yet another awesome session of Mindful Living. We truly appreciate your taking out time and joining us this Saturday evening. All sessions of Mindful Living are guaranteed to improve your quality of life, and our session today on generating wealth is no different. Friends, let me begin by asking you a question. How many hours do you work in a month? Please type in the chat the number of hours approximately that you work in a month. Friends, how many hours do we spend at work in a month? How many hours do we spend working in a month? Please type in the chat. An approximate number is okay. 300 hours. Yeah, that's a lot, Pragati. I agree. Anybody else? How many hours do we work? 250 hours. Yes, Sridhar. Shashidhar. Okay. Friends, I need responses from everybody. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Okay, so that's 40 hours, 4 weeks, so upwards of 150, 160 hours. Okay. 200 hours, 150 hours. Okay, yeah. 200 hours, yeah. Friends, we mostly work more than 200 hours in a month, right? Now, let me ask you another question. We spend 200 hours at work earning money. How many hours in a month do we spend in managing the money that we have earned? Please type the number of hours we spend in managing the money that we earn. So we work for about 200 hours in a month. How many hours do we spend in managing the money that we earn? And if zero is also a number, so if you're not investing any time, yeah, Anupama, very honest, I really appreciate that. 0 hours. That is where I was, not 1 to 2 hours. So we spend 200 hours working, but 2 hours in managing the money. Yeah, half hour every day. Wow, that's Redmi 10A. If you can name yourself, it'll be good. That's a very good practice. So, friends, I would like to hear more responses. 3 hours in a month, Payal. Okay, that's okay, good. Can we have some more responses, please? How many hours? We spend 200 hours working in a month. How many hours do we spend in managing the money that we earn? So we're getting responses like 0, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 30 hours, 1 hour in a month. So friends, that is exactly where I was in my life. I was working 200 hours, more than 200 hours in a month, but hardly spending 2 hours in managing the money. Even though I'm a cost accountant and an MBA in finance and a topper at that, I'll request you to not to write on the screen, please. I was, I was a specialist in corporate finance. That is what I got educated in. But nobody taught me how to manage my personal finances, which is a completely different animal. And I landed up making a couple of financial blunders. If you or someone you know has made financial blunders and landed in a financial mess, please type me in the chat box. Friends, if you or someone you know hasn't managed your personal finances well and landed up in a financial soup, please type me in the chat box. Thank you for being honest, Shushmita. Thank you for being honest, Vinod. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Anupama. That was my story. That is me, friends. And yeah, okay, Mukta, I hear you. Thank you, Jogesh. And what do you do when you get into a mess? I realize if it is me who has got myself into the mess, it is me who needs to pull myself out of the mess. So I started learning about personal finance, managing personal finance, by reading books from Richard Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Dave Ramsey, and many others. And eventually I learned how to manage money and came out of the mess. And I thought to myself that the mess that I have created for myself, other people should not do, should not. I should help people prevent from making the same mistake that I did, and I made it a mission to spread knowledge about helping people manage their personal finances, and that is one of the missions at Mindful Living, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. And it is in this context that we invited Ruchi Maheshwari to speak on the topic today. Ruchi is an MBA from University of Bradford and a chartered accountant, and she's going to share with us the principles that she has used to become financially free. She is financially free today, friends. In case you don't know what financial freedom means, it means that you don't have to work to earn money. You work only because you choose to, not because you have to. Ruchi is the co-founder of Rejoice, which is a very successful corporate training and coaching consulting company. She is a operations professional, worked for over 23 years in the corporates career with the companies like Anand Rathi Securities, JM Morgan Stanley, and ING Mutual Fund. Currently, she counsels individuals on wealth, relationships, and decluttering. She is very clued on. She reads 30 to 50 books in a year. One of the very few people I know who read that many books in a year, and completely clued on with apps, latest apps, gadgets, tools, and technologies to simplify life. And her hobbies include working crafts, which involve working with paper, ink, thread, wax, glass, particularly origami. Ruchi, we are very happy to have you with us in this session today.
Hi, Ashish, and welcome everybody. Very, very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. And Ashish, thank you for the wonderful work you do. And I'm only starting to hear about what the Mindful Living community does, and I'm glad that you're hosting these sessions.
Thank you, Ruchi. Friends, many of you are joining us for the first time. If you are joining a Mindful Living session for the first time, please type FT in the chat. Friends, if you're joining a Mindful Living session for the first time, please type FT. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Sayami. Thank you, Payal. Thank you, Megha. Thank you, Lalit. There's a lot of you are joining us for the first time. Allow me to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I am the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018. Prior to that, I worked in the corporate sector for 25 years in senior management roles with organizations like Tata AIG, Future Generali, Marsh, HCL Healthcare, and Healthcare at Home. During the years of my working in the corporate sector, I saw how stressed the people are and how this stress is taking a toll on their health, happiness, and well-being. And being a certified mindfulness teacher myself, I thought it is important to take the message of living consciously to the corporate sector. And with that mission and vision of impacting the lives of 1 million corporate professionals, we started Mindful Living in 2018. In the last 5 years, we have conducted over 300 sessions for over 10,000 employees in leading organizations like Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, IBM, EXL, Swiggy, Hero, Schneider, Kotak Life, SDFC Life, and many other organizations. The session today is being organized as a part of the Mindful Living Community Initiative, which we started in April 2020 when the first lockdown happened. Few of my friends who are there in the session today reached out to me and requested me to conduct a session on mindfulness to help them deal with the stress and anxiety that the first lockdown was causing. And we conducted a session over the weekend. One thing led to the other. And in the last 3 years, friends, we have grown from a group of 10 people who gathered on a weekend to practice mindfulness to a vibrant community of over 3,000 people who connect every weekend to learn and apply mindfulness in our daily lives. And I would like to invite you to join this community and be with us. And I would also like to introduce today one of the members of our community, Shan Watts, who is a senior practice lead with Infosys and a proud winner of the Times Ascent Award on Innovation and Recruitment at World HRD Conference. Shan, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the generous introduction. Ashish, sir, very honestly, mindful living has been pretty special to me in a lot of way. Sir has already told you what I do, but I also want to take you through my journey. Okay, while my father was in the army, so I have done my schooling from across the country. Then I did my engineering, BTech in IT from Pune University. I was a distinction holder there. I worked as a software engineer for a year, and I realized that that was not my calling. Although I was good at it, but that was not my calling because I enjoyed a people's job more than a desk job. So I went for my MBA. I have done it from Symbiosis in HR and marketing. I was also fortunate to get my second master's from UK in international business, which I got a scholarship for from Symbiosis International University. And here I am after, getting a work visa in UK. I decided I did not want to continue there. I wanted to come back to India because I somehow felt that there was so much more to India than just, the so-called jazz in the foreign world. But nonetheless, I've been working with Infosys since. It's been 13 years, a long journey. With Infosys, I'm primarily into talent acquisition space. And, I'm also pursuing my PhD side by side. Why I share this with you is that because despite, learning so much through education system, both in India and abroad, I always felt that there was something missing. There was a piece which was missing, which I really couldn't put my finger to. Because at work you get stressed. As a woman, you have to manage two jobs. One is at work and one is at home. Being a mother, being a person who has to manage families, who has to run and manage things at home, I really felt that there was something which I needed more. And my education, my support system wasn't helping me. I think COVID, although it was very painful for a lot of us, but it was also a blessing in disguise, but because it helped us, see the other side of us. And I think a lot of us went through a lot of, physical and emotional stress, so to say, during this time. And that was when I got introduced to personal development and mindfulness. Although I've always been into, some sort of a meditation and spirituality as such, but, personal coaching and mindfulness was something I got introduced to because of COVID, just while browsing, one of those FB pages. I came across a session, and it was after that, it has been a phenomenal journey. It's been one session after the other, and there's been so much learning that I've got in these last 3.5 years that I have been in the space. What I can tell you is that these are the things that are never taught in school. These are life skills that are never taught in school, and which I feel are the missing link, which despite, doing my PhD, I felt that there was something amiss. So, great efforts, Ashish sir. Kudos to you and your team for putting that piece together and identifying that there's something more that is required apart from the normal education that we receive in schools and colleges. So, I've been associated with mindful living for quite some time. I've also had a one-on-one with Ashish sir. He's been phenomenal. And I think the intention behind this program is very, very, noble, so to say. So, I would encourage all of you to, take maximum benefit of it. They touch upon topics which are very useful, right from things like sleep management, to acceptance, to mindfulness, so on. And today we have a financial management course, which I, as a woman, I feel that this is something even I wish to learn. So kudos to the team, and I wish them the best. And I would encourage people to come and join more and more and benefit from these sessions. So over to you, Ashish sir.
Thank you, Shan. Thank you so much. We really value you as a member of the team. And friends, we request you to click on the link that has been shared in the chat and join our community and benefit from it like Shan has. And just one housekeeping rule before I share it with Ruchi, please keep your cameras on. That helps the speaker be engaged, and use the reactions button and show your appreciation, thumbs up, love, whenever Ruchi shares something which is interesting. The duration of our presentation would be about 30 to 40 minutes, and we will take question answer sessions after that. The session is scheduled to finish at 6 p.m., but it is possible that due to the questions we receive, we may extend it. So we'll be here to answer any question that you have on this topic. And I will request you to stay till the end because we have a special gift from Ruchi for each one of you who is attending the session. So on that note, welcome everyone, and Ruchi, over to you.
Thanks, Ashish. So I'm going to run through some slides. The first couple of them have some questions. If you are joining from a laptop, you could use your phone, and there'll be a QR code on the screen. You could point at it and you'll be able to answer the question. Or Ashish will be posting a link in the chat, and you can click on that link and you can answer the question. So just to get to understand the room a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna. Ashish, can you see my slides?
I can see your slide.
Okay. So,
and we've also posted the link.
Yes. So you can just, there'll be a link on the next screen as well. You can use this link, this QR code to type your answers. There are two questions in this. Once you finish one, you will automatically be shown the next question. I think we are about 20 people on the group right now.
38.
38, okay. So once about 30 people have answered, I will get move to the next slide. So this is the distribution of the people in the group currently. Age group, I think 40 to 60 is probably the maximum number. Not many people have answered, about half now. We'll give them another 15 seconds to answer.
All right. Friends, request you to participate by clicking on the link and submitting your response.
Okay, so clearly the distribution is more on the 40 to 60 age group, and some in the 20 to 40 as well. Very few in the above 60. So I move on to the next. So very interesting to see. And here I wanted people to choose as many as applicable. So how many, I actually made these categories based on my own roles. And I found that I have, out of these 7 roles, I play 6 of these roles. I'm not salaried anymore, and that's the only role that I don't have. And it came as a surprise to me. So I see that I think almost a lot of people are salaried, and I will talk about salary a little bit and how to handle investments and tax related to being an employee. So great. I think we'll move on from this. There will be one more link to click. And Ashish, you can post the second link.
Sure.
Here you can choose as many as you like. Just read through the list and see which ones apply to you, which are your limiting beliefs around money. This is going neck and neck between making money is hard and I may have made poor choices.
Yeah. And do we have more responses this time than the first time, Ruchi?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had around 20 responses in the first question, but more responses here.
All right. All right.
So, okay. So looks like the popular limiting beliefs are making money is hard and I have made poor choices around money. And also I see, and this is particularly true with the group for women, that I have not done enough to deserve richness. So this is a belief that I really, really want to target and change. So I want you to change and supplement your beliefs with this belief that you are enough. And I want you to say aloud with me right now. You don't have to switch on your mics, but just say aloud, I am enough.
I am enough.
I am enough.
And say that one more time, louder this time. I am enough.
I am enough.
I'm just going to stop screen share for a second because I can't see all of your faces. Okay. Back to my slides. So this belief, I want you to really, really reinstall into your, and you will wonder what's it got to do with money? But it has a whole lot to do with money. So please remind yourself again and again from time to time that you are enough. So I'll talk a little bit about my investing journey. I'm the youngest of 4 kids, very pampered, a bit of a brat, and I was very risk averse. So risk averse that I don't even want to read the newspapers and find out what's happening in the world. And I stopped watching TV a long time ago. So if I can get rich without reading newspapers, without watching TV, any of you can. But I just took some small steps. And when I initially started investing, which was in around 2004-05, this was 4 or 5 years into my career, and my money was just sitting in the bank doing nothing because all my expenses were taken care of because I was living with my parents. Some colleague of mine really pushed me into starting investing, and I very tentatively invested 1,000 rupees a month. And 4 or 5 months later realized that बहुत गलती कर दी. अगर थोड़े ज्यादा पैसे इन्वेस्ट किए होते तो look at the way it's growing. And then I invested some more, then I invested some more. I started 3 or 4 SIPs, then I said, okay, let's sit still for a while. Then I started watching my investments practically every day. And I was working for a stockbroking company, so sari news to pata hoti thi even before it came in the newspapers. And then the market fell and I got scared. So what do? And फिर लगा कि किसमें से निकलूं? Should I exit out of my investment? What do I do? So the best idea that I now realize in retrospect is I put my head in the sand and stopped looking at my investments for a while. And I trusted that I had chosen correctly. Now, some of those choices few years later proved to be like they're not growing as fast as the others, or some were a little bit negative also. So later on, I did sell out some of my investments, but not looking at them actually saved me a lot of stress. And it helped me stay invested. And that's a very big part of getting rich, stay invested. So I invested actually the SIP way consistently for only about 6-7 years. And after that, I've been doing ad hoc investments as in when I feel like. But those 6-7 years of investments have given me enough money to now say that I'm financially free, I'll do what I want. And believe me, the biggest wealth is having time to do what you want. Being the master of your own time is the biggest wealth. No amount of money can buy you that. And actually, having a lot of money can buy you that. because then you don't have to work according to somebody else's schedule. So from time to time, I realized that some investments were not doing well and I sold them and got out of them. Some were riskier than I liked and hence I got out of them. Now I've simplified my investing to invest in only one type of mutual fund for my long term, one type for my short term needs. And other than that, I have PPF. So I don't have a wide variety of investments, and keeping it simple has actually made it very useful for me. So I have a separate travel fund. This is also a short-term investment, but I love to travel and that's an expensive hobby. So I've kept a travel fund, but the surprising thing is I haven't yet used it. I've traveled, but I'm not needed to use the fund. And that is not because I'm trying to boast, oh, I have so much money, but because when you start allocating for your needs, more resources show up, more resources than you need. And most of my original investments, other than the ones I got out of, most of them are still intact. Very little I needed to redeem. Initially, when I got into business, that time cash flow situation was a little bit of a challenge. Other than that, I've not touched my investments for my needs. And the point I want to make here is when you stay invested and you have this whole foundation of wealth, then you don't need to worry about retirement, about insurance, I will touch on these topics later on. But if you have one big pool of money, then all needs can get taken care of. So this is what I recommend. And most people say, paise nahi hai. But as soon as your salary comes in, as soon as whatever income check comes in, first invest, spend later. And how to invest first? How much to invest? About 10 to 20% of your take home. So whatever your earnings for that month are, around 10% is absolute must to be invested. If you can invest 20, nothing like it. Those who are on an EMI for a house, they may not be able to invest more than 10%, but it is good to invest as much as you can. And staying invested is, as I said, the most important bit. So to stay invested and to invest consistently, you have to automate it. If you every time sit down to think, what should I invest in? How much should I invest this month? It's going to become very difficult for you. So automate it as much as possible. I usually go for mutual fund SIPs. And it's good to distribute your investments across debt, equity, gold, real estate, whatever other categories you choose. But debt and equity, at least there needs to be some distribution. Take a long-term view always. I'm saying 5 years. 5 years is also pretty short. I would like to actually suggest 10 to 15 years as a long-term perspective. And this strong foundation of just investing will get you very far. Now, most people invest to have a safe future. So are you coming from fear or are you coming from freedom? So if you're coming from wanting to be financially free, the feeling will be very different. And the money will grow also very differently. This is my perspective. I can't give a logic or a proof of this, but I'd like you to think of this thought that are you coming from fear or are you coming from freedom? So invest to have lots and lots of money, not to take care of life's emergencies or life's whatever life brings. I believe that life is already provided for. When you were born, you were already given the set of resources that will turn up later on in your life. But they will be taken care of, and trust that it will happen. So I'll talk more about the trust a little later in this presentation. Now, this is a typical question that many people ask, that या तो खर्चे के वांदे हैं, अपने तो rent payment का ही problem चल रहा है. You are saying I should invest. Where will I invest from? So if you are really, really tight on money, can you invest 500 rupees a month? 500 भी ज्यादा लग रहे हैं तो 200 से शुरू कर लो. I've had my household maids start with a recurring deposit of 200 rupees. Even they came back and said, Didi, थोड़े पैसे इकट्ठे हो गए हैं, what else can we invest in? उनको भी जब थोड़ा सा चस्का लग गया कि अच्छा इन्वेस्टमेंट शुरू करके अब पैसे जमा हो रहे हैं. And I'm sure anybody can invest at least $500 a month. Now, if you don't have enough for your current lifestyle, then where is it going? So track your expenses for a few months and see where is it going. And if you categorize them and recognize what categories you're spending most on, is it food? Is it going out? And are there some categories which are something that you can cut down on a little bit? So look for leakages, look for cheaper alternatives to what you're doing, or what are your regular habits. And then I came across this term called affirmation. Everybody's heard of affirmation, but somebody presented affirmations in a slightly different way, saying, construct it like a question. What if? So what if I was rich? How would I behave? What would I do? What would my thoughts be like? What would my actions be like? And can you do some of those things today? Can you start attracting that richness by starting to act rich? It does not involve spending money, but can you feel like a rich person today, even without a whole lot of money in your bank account? Save up and savor. This is a term I use for discretionary expenses, that when you see this new fad, or you see this new dress you want to buy, or this new restaurant you want to go for, save it for a special occasion. And I don't say that save it like for 2 years later. Do it 2 weeks later if you want to. But savor it a little bit. Savor that anticipation of doing something that you find really special. And that anticipation will also give you joy. So even that is a kind of richness. I'm looking forward to so many things. And if you have a more or less predictable income every month, this is a topic I will repeat several times in my presentation, is पिछले महीने जो बैलेंस बचा था बैंक अकाउंट में, उसको शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट में डालो. Because वो तो पिछले महीने के खर्चे के लिए था, वो यूज नहीं आया. So you can put it aside. If you leave it in your bank account, it will get spent. Especially now with our GPay, we don't realize how much we are spending. So every drop adds up. The habit of investing, the habit comes first. Money will attract more money. And if you say, I don't have money to invest, I have too many expenses, let me reassure you, you have come this far in life. आप जहां भी हो, आप यहाँ तक आए हो. So you will get there. Wherever you want to go, you have the power to get there. So keep at it. Start something. Take some actions in the investment direction also. But you did come till this place. Now investing for the present. Present by present, I mean next 6 months ke whatever your dreams and goals are. So first research your needs for the 6 months. Next 6 months, whether you want a new mobile, you want to go on a holiday, you have a life milestone coming up. I have a 50th birthday coming up in 2 years, but soon enough for me. And plan. Look at options. If you want to go on a big holiday, read about that place. Read about, you might want to read about a few places before you narrow down on that. That is part of the holiday itself. I really enjoy researching the places I want to go to, or even the books I want to buy, or I do a lot of window shopping online, researching things I want to buy, putting it in my cart and seeing how that feels. And many of those things I don't buy, but वो cart में डाल के मुझे बहुत मजा आ जाता है. And once I feel fulfilled, I just drop them. And it's too bad for Amazon though. So investing for the present is you put your a little bit aside every month. Once you know what your goal is, like you want to buy a new mobile, you figured out what it costs, you figured out how many months down the road you want it, and you also see how much you can put away for it every month. So you might have to readjust your time frame of when you can afford to buy it based on how much you can save for it. But I would strongly recommend कि आज credit card या loan लेके या EMI पे आपने खरीद लिया, then that debt will start piling up very fast because the interest rates on credit cards are very, very high. They vary from 35 to 48%, closer to 48, I think. I don't have an exact number. So instead, put it in a low risk investment. I will not suggest what can be a low risk investment, but typically debt mutual funds, arbitrage funds are what I prefer. But this is something you can talk to me about further, and we can see what is suitable for you. Again, repeating what I said in my last slide, that पिछले महीने का bank balance अगर बाकी है, तो उसको short term investment में डाल दो. If sometimes you might receive money as gifts from family on occasions, festivals, birthdays, put that away. If it's in hand, you will spend it immediately. If you put it away, you can spend it for what you like in the next 3 months, next 6 months. But have a focused effort of spending on what you really want. And I love to keep a running list of my dreams. कि मुझे कहाँ travel करने जाना है. So with my husband, I very regularly revise those lists. कहाँ, मतलब, which are travel destinations. I actually have a WhatsApp group with my husband, which is travel diaries. We just keep, actually, I just keep posting in that, that I want to go here, I want to go there. There are photographs, there are articles, there's a whole lot of research. And from time to time, we scroll through it and say, अच्छा यहाँ जाते हैं. And any other thing that you want to buy, research it, keep a list of dreams, keep ticking off those dreams. इतना मजा आएगा to tick off and say, अरे मेरे 5 dream fulfill हो गए. बहुत, मतलब, noticing that your list is getting shorter and then longer again because you're adding new items, but noticing that some of them got done will be very fulfilling. So balance between your present dreams and your future needs. आज की जरूरतें आज पूरी करनी है, but future के लिए भी कुछ invest करना है. And here what I found is that you created the short-term investment for current dreams, but sometimes उस पैसे की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. या you feel कि अरे ये काफी pool इकट्ठा हो गया है, this is more than I need, then move some of those to long-term investments. There's something called systematic transfer plan, which all mutual funds have. So you could automate moving some of this slowly to a long term. You will still have this short term investment, which can also cover emergencies if they arise. But your focus should be on using them for joy, using them for your dreams. So I'm just saying, fund to available, matlab money is one color. You can use it for whatever you need. But if you use it, if you create it with the target of having fun, बहुत मजा आएगा. Now, tracking your investments. This is exceptionally important. I cannot stress the need of it enough, but I would also say don't track it too often. So this is how I track mine. I have an Excel sheet and I use this an NSDL से एक CAS आता है. I've forgotten what the full form of CAS is, which gives a combination of equity and mutual funds all in one statement. I don't have insurance policies, but it has the option of insurance policies as well if you have them. And I track it every quarter. And I see how my money is moving in an Excel file. There are also some online portals where you can link your accounts and they will give you your valuation. Now, I have a little bit of a discomfort with online portals, especially if they are free. But if your bank offers something like this as you know, an esteemed customer, then it may be a good option as well, because it'll give you all your valuations in one place. So whatever you invest in, the higher the risk, the more closely you have to track it. And if you're investing in something that you feel is higher than your own risk appetite because you want to make more money, you have to pre-decide when to exit. So either have a target price or a duration कि मुझे इतने टाइम में रहना है, पैसा बना तो निकल जाएंगे, मतलब बना नहीं बना, I have to exit by this date, or I have this price and it has to arrive within a reasonable amount of time. You can't wait forever with riskier investments. So pre-decide your exit route. This can also be true for most of your investments. But my long-term investments, which are in large caps, I don't want to ever exit out of, unless कि कुछ company को बहुत ही mutual fund बहुत ही कुछ बिगड़ जाता है, I'm not going to exit from them. I think that I'm going to leave most of my investments behind when I leave this earth. I don't know. I hope I do. Leave at least some for my nieces and nephews. Now, another important part is follow your gut. जो अंदर से आवाज आ रही है, जो feeling आ रहा है, most people say investment और feeling का क्या लेना देना? It has to be logic, it has to be, yes, it has to be logic and it has to be numbers, but your gut will tell you whether this investment is appropriate for your risk appetite. Nobody else can tell you that. And risk appetite, while there are various tools to measure it, there is no definable number that आपका risk appetite इतना % है या ये level का है. So trust your gut. अगर किसी चीज में बहुत डर लग रहा है, तो either talk to an investment advisor before getting into it or stay away from it. But that does not mean that you should not take risks. I'll talk about risks separately in another slide. Also have an exit strategy for when investments don't work out. So when you're tracking them, only then you will know कि ये 3 तो अच्छे चल रहे हैं, ये चौथा अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है, तो इसमें से निकल जाना चाहिए. So regularly check. I think checking quarterly is okay. But if you want to check more frequently, determine a date. And say, like for instance, my birthday is on the 7th. So I can pick 7th of every month and say, ये birthday वाला दिन है, मतलब उस month तक wait करने की जरूरत नहीं है. But you can choose a date and say, today I'm going to give time to my investments. And you don't need a whole lot of time. If you know where to access your information, maybe even half an hour, 1 hour is enough to track your investments if you don't distribute them too widely, which is why I get a combined statement of my mutual fund and my equities, and I have one bottom line number. I don't even read through each of them every quarter. Once in a while, I will look at which fund is performing better, which equities were पिछले महीने क्या था and all that. But mostly I just put the number in this sheet and look at the overall picture. Now, as I emphasize throughout this things, is stay within your risk appetite means you will sleep better at night. The sleep is a lot more worthwhile. Sleep and time. These are two important things to me. So talking about risks, all investments have differing risks.
If I may interrupt, I have a question from the previous slide.
Yeah, can you write down your question, Shan, and we'll take it at the end?
Sure. Okay, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So all investments have differing levels of risks. There is no safe investment. And if somebody tells you this investment is completely safe, then this investment has no return. Leaving money in the bank is also risky, as we are hearing every now and then banks are failing. And somebody just today morning sent a message, some WhatsApp group said they were talking about some bank failure, and they said the bank's liability to you is only 5 lakhs, up to 5 lakhs. It doesn't cover more than that. If something goes wrong with the bank and you have more money than that in the bank, then they're not going to be able to cover it all. And leaving money in the bank is also risky because it's not earning returns. So if it's not earning returns, it's degenerating because there's inflation. Now, higher returns is equal to higher risk. And so no risk, no return. you will find that, this get rich quick schemes are always very, very risky. So if something is offering you to make money in the really short term, trust me, it's very, very risky. कोई बोल रहा है कि ये मल्टी बैगर है, इसमें अगले हफ्ते आपका पैसा डबल हो जाएगा. Please be very, very careful before you trust that person. There's a great comedy video by Ayush Shraddha. I don't know if any of you have heard of Ayush Shraddha. She's an excellent comedian, and she's done this latest video on, and that video is she's been chosen by NSC to do a sponsored video. It's hilarious. Please look her up and watch that video. So know your risk appetite. Know कहाँ पेट में ना butterflies होने लग जाता है, गुड़गुड़ होने लग जाता है कि ये वाला मेरे से handle नहीं होगा. But when you know your risk appetite, also stretch it a little bit, because no risk, no return, na? So if we all stay safe, we won't cross the road. So थोड़ा थोड़ा अपने आप को stretch करो, but take baby steps. Don't try to, if you don't know anything about investing, don't jump into the latest multi-bagger suggestion of one equity stock. That is the riskiest thing you can do. So baby steps, but once you start feeling a little more comfortable with the level of risk you've taken, see if you want to take a little bit more. And if you don't, that's okay. It's okay to stay at the level of risk you are comfortable with. It's better to sleep at night than to damage your health over trying to make more money. And when you think of short-term investments, कि आप थोड़े दिन के लिए पैसे डाल के निकालना चाह रहे हो, risk is always higher in the shorter term than in the longer term. In the longer term, many of the ups and downs will even out. You just have to look at the Nifty graph. So if I get a chance, I'll show it to you in the end, but that might take a little time. Calculating your future needs is impossible. How they do investment planning, they'll tell you, Acha, you are this age, so by life expectancy, you're expected to live so many years, and what kind of expenses do you have now? So your future expenses are likely to be like this. The number they'll give you that you need to have right now to be able to retire, it will give you sleepless nights for months. And the problem with that is that it's not accurate. Nobody can say exactly how many years you live. Nobody can say what your expenses will be at that point of time based on what your health is, what other living situations you are in, how much has inflation gone up. Nobody can predict these numbers. So it's not really predictable. So just keep investing. If you try to come from a future number कि मुझे ये target चाहिए, तो नहीं होगा. But if you just say डालते जाते, foundation और गहरी बनाते जाते, foundation को और strong करते जाते, money will attract more money, and you will have what you need. So your life is already designed to give you what you need, but you do have to take action. So again, I reiterate, everything you need will be provided for because you're born with that. This is something I strongly believe in, and it has worked out for me. Now, gold, since this was a session targeted at women, but I'm glad to see many men have also joined up. So I wanted to talk a little bit about gold. Now, gold can be a beauty, something to add to your beauty and your ensemble. It can be, something that makes you feel safe, or it can be an investment. So jewelry is not an investment. Coins and bars also not very liquid. So I wouldn't consider it really an investment. Best way to invest in gold is either through sovereign gold bonds, gold exchange traded funds, or gold savings funds. This is real investment. If you want to have gold as a category, then use one of these three. And main reason why I'm calling something not an investment is if you can't sell it, it's not an investment. Same way, the house you live in, you can't sell it unless you move somewhere else. There is a step involved. So that is not an investment till you chosen another kind of lifestyle and decided I don't need to own a house. Now, insurance is a very popular topic, so I thought I'd touch on those questions in the slides itself, and if anybody has further questions, we can take them up later. So insurance by design is for financial security of your dependents. And no matter that they've combined it with money back policies and ULIPs and all of that, it's primarily insurance. Now, an insurance company takes your money to provide for the probability of you dying. So they have to cover that probability. They can't just, put all the money in investment. They have a formula to calculate कि कितने लोग निकल जाएंगे और कितना हमारा liability आ सकता है, तो उतना money we have to keep available to pay out. That much amount of money they can't invest. And this I'm talking in very layman terms. So it's not designed for your financial security. It's designed for financial security of your dependents. And I would say that insurance is primarily suitable for people who don't have access to other financial products for lack of information, for lack of, knowing how to invest online, and just not having that much, information and education. Financial education, and also for people working in very high risk jobs. So if somebody is working in construction, somebody is constantly on the road, even a traveling salesman for that matter, someone who's constantly going from here to there. If you're sitting and working from home, or you are mostly in good health, mostly in a safe space, then you don't really need insurance unless you have very small kids. So then I would suggest take only term insurance to provide for your children, to provide for your dependents, and at least till they come of age when they can start earning. So yes, that's a security you must provide for. But people take insurance as an investment. Now this is something that I don't believe in at all. So I would like to strongly suggest कि अगर you have dependents and you have a risky kind of lifestyle, then yes, insurance is a need, but don't call it investment. So it's not a pure investment. Even the latest finance bill, there's been a withdrawal of one of the exemptions, that if there's a payout greater than 5 lakhs, then that amount on payout will not be exempt from tax. So what I suggest instead is, if you have one pocket, one portfolio of money, you can provide for whatever need. I once tried to buy medical insurance for my parents. My father gave me a big firing and said, कुछ होगा तो अपने पास इतने पैसे हैं कि अपन उस pocket से ही खर्च कर लेंगे. We don't need to pay premiums and create another pocket from which to spend for medical expenses. We'll just spend, we have money. And that's when I realized that there is another way to look at money, that I don't need to segregate it into different categories. My portfolio, and the portfolio can have a variety, but it does not have to be this portfolio is for that thing, that portfolio is for that thing. I put aside some funds to earmarked for travel, but if I want to use them for anything else, I can. So have, funds available in the short term and invest for the long term, and all your needs can be met out of that. Now, tax calculation. I'm just talking about a few simple topics here, not going into much detail because it will differ for each person. So there is and Ashish, can you post that link, the third one? There's, for salary, there's this calculator I have used for years for my clients now. It's called Nitya's tax calculator. This guy is an engineer and he sits and updates this Excel file every year after the budget comes out. And for salaried people, this can be a very good tax calculator. So you can look it up and see if it makes sense to you. And there would be other calculators online. And when your investments and your wealth grows and you need the assistance of a CA, by all means, get somebody to do your taxes for you. But take ownership of your taxes. Know what the overall logic is and ask questions. So whoever is doing your taxes for you, ask them questions. Iska kya matlab hota hai? Don't be afraid to sound silly. It is your money, and from the tax aspect also, be in charge of it. However ridiculous your questions are, you are the client. If somebody is filing your returns for you, you are the client. Ask what it means. So investments are not taxed like salary. Investments are taxed when you sell them, and for the profits only. So if there's a profit on your investment, that is taxed as capital gains, and there is a classification of short-term and long-term capital gains. I won't go into that in detail right now. I typically use public provident fund for all the exemption limits, the 1.5 lakh exemption limit that is available, because it's great for compounding your money. Compound interest on public provident fund is 7.1%, I think, unless it's been, the limit's been changed recently. You can invest 1.5 lakhs and you know how much money, if so typically a new PPF account has a lock-in of 15 years. And you know, if you invest 1.5 lakhs for 15 years, how much it will become? That's about 24 lakhs. I just Googled an online compound interest calculator and it gave me a very nice graph. In that 15 years, that 24 lakhs will become about 42 lakhs. So saal ka 1.5 lakh rupees, which is about 12,500 rupees a month. And you can put it in monthly installments also. You can do about 12 installments in a PPF. It covers all your tax saving. Even if some of your tax saving is taken care of by other investments, if you have the resources available to put 1.5 lakhs in PPF, please put 1.5 lakhs in PPF at the beginning of April and thank me later. Now, people are talking about retirement on the group and talking about pension. I like to put it under the topic of aging gracefully. This is now my theme in life. I've definitely come more than halfway through my life. So I've started to accept it and I've started to say, okay, अब वो सारे काम करने जो भी बाद के लिए रखे थे वो one day, वो जल्दी कर लो, पता नहीं कितनी life बची है. So people talk about retirement, but I find that many of us are now knowledge workers, especially those who were completely able to work from home in the lockdown. You can work from anywhere. So you can work while you travel. If you're not already a knowledge worker, would you like to skill up to be a knowledge worker? And why retire? So this concept of retirement or pension comes from, okay, आज मुझे time नहीं है to do all those things that I love to do. So sometime in the future, I will stop working. And there's this whole meme of I hate my job. I hate Mondays. I live for the weekend. ये सब thoughts को override करो. And say I live for now. I love what I do. I will do both my work that earns me money and also invest some time in my hobbies. And investments, money investments never retire. They keep working. They keep working and they keep working. So if you got money invested, why call it retirement? You might stop working. You might stop working for money. But trust me, khali बैठ के मजा नहीं आता है. I've got lots of time. Why am I doing this session? Because मुझे किसी को बताना है कि मैंने ये सीखा है. मुझे किसी को बताना है कि मुझे ये मजा आ रहा है. But ये retirement का concept दिमाग से निकाल दो. आप चाहे काम करना छोड़ दो, but उसे retirement कहने की क्या जरूरत है? वो word has become very associated with being old and being, incapable. I think that someone at 60 is much more capable than someone at 20. Someone at 60 can give you answers like that on the spot. rather than, and they can figure out a lot of things. So many of you might know Nitya Shanti, and he had once talked about alternate professions. So Nitya loves to make a list of 108 whenever he starts making a list. So he made a list of 108 alternate professions that he could have. And I think his profession is pretty cool because he can teach whenever he likes. And I said, chalo, main bhi banati hu. I made some 25, 30, and I regularly add 1 or 2 items to that list. But if you just evaluate what else you could do, which can earn you money potentially, it's a very fun exercise, and I suggest it to all of you. Another important aspect to aging gracefully, to slowing down in your life, is to take care of your health now. Mental health, physical health, emotional health, and for all the women, especially your hormonal health. Also for men, but men probably don't notice hormonal changes as much as women do. It's a lot more challenging for women, especially in their 40s and 50s. Pay attention to your health now, whatever your age group. Pay attention to your health now. If your health is good, आधे खर्चे की टेंशन निकल जाएगी. कि मेरे सबसे बड़ा टेंशन होता है कि emergency fund. What will happen to my medical expenses? Should I buy more insurance? ये सारे questions निकल जाएंगे if you are preventive about your health. And invest in your hobbies now. I mentioned this before as well, but why are you saving them up for later? Make a list of your hobbies also. वो 108 वाली list hobbies की भी बना लो. मेरी तो बहुत सारी hobbies हैं. And from time to time, I find ways to do one or other of them. And trust me, 5 साल पहले तक, I had also saved everything up for one day. And then I kind of just exploded. That I just had enough of just study, and then work. And I just don't want to do anything anymore. So don't arrive at that stage. Start paying attention to what you love to do. Matlab, if there are things that you are doing but you don't really like to do because you have to do it for earning a living, I would also suggest कि उसको भी प्यार कर लो. Give that also some love, but कम से कम make some time for the things that you know that you love. And everybody was like on the group, there was some conversation about pension, and pension से बड़ी security feel होती है कि गवर्नमेंट के एनपीएस प्लान या दूसरा कोई प्लान किसमें इन्वेस्ट करें. एंड बट व्हाट इज अ नंबर दैट विल बी इनफ? You don't know the future, and it may feel like okay, there will be some inflow coming, but you can get that inflow from your mutual funds also by setting up a systematic withdrawal plan when you need it. So inflow, जब एक कुआं है ना पैसे का, उसमें से बाल्टी भर के निकाल लो, खाली नहीं होगा. इसलिए पहले कुआं खोदना है. वो कुआं खोदने का काम अभी करना है. So it might help you feel secure, but again, pension किस रिटर्न भाई magically नहीं आता है pension. It's just like somebody is taking your money, investing it somewhere, and then giving it back to you. Now, what rate of return are they doing it at? Are they the best investment managers? Are they being tracked professionally? Like, a mutual fund is tracking against an index. That hamara ye wala fund is aligned to this index. And you can see कि ये index से कम कहाँ outperform कर रहा है, कहाँ underperform कर रहा है. And you can choose to move out of it. If you put your money in a pension fund, can you move out? I don't know if you can, but that's a question I want to leave with you. So, do you want to do this? Now, last couple of slides. These are a couple of books I want to recommend. Psychology of Money is a very obvious name, and it's an easy book to read. I would strongly recommend all of you to, read this. 4,000 weeks is the average lifespan. And this book really shook me up as well as opened my eyes to living now. And I can see one friend of mine here who's just read 2 pages and gave me a very nice declaration, which was a conversation which stayed with me for a couple of days, and I felt very happy about that. So read this book and read 4,000 Weeks first if you have to pick one. And the psychology of money you can, save for later. But जिंदगी बहुत छोटी है, जी लो ना यार. So that is more or less it. Sorry. Ashish, you want to say something before?
Yes. Thank you so much, Ruchi, for such a heartwarming session on money management. Normally, money management sessions are very, very technical, very dry and boring, but I'm sure people really resonated with the honest message that you have put out. You have really poured out your heart, and there are some questions we have got in the chat for you. But before we take up the questions, friends, I request you to fill out this feedback form, which will take you less than 30 seconds to fill out. So please fill that, and please type FD, feedback done, once you've filled out the feedback form, and then we will open up the session for question and answers. As I said, we have requested Ruchi to stay till all the questions are answered. So don't worry, we will take up all your questions. So fill out the feedback form, 30 seconds, and type FD in the chat. Thank you, Kash. Thank you, Ujjwal. Thank you, Pragati. Thank you, Gautam. And friends, as I mentioned earlier, we will have a gift for you at the end of the session. So please stay on till the end of the session. And we will now like to open up the session for Q&A. Shan, are you there? Would you like to go ahead with your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. First of all, I must congratulate you for choosing a very relevant topic. I was supposed to have a little other session, but I kind of decided to go in for this because it just grew like so well. It got so interesting. So I couldn't kind of convince myself to leave the session. So that is, something very great. Secondly, the question that I had was that, ma'am mentioned that she has been investing into mutual funds and equity and everything. So is she doing it by herself, or does she have an agent to do it for her? Like, does she follow the stock market very closely to invest there, or she has somebody who kind of guides her on that? I wanted to ask that question.
Okay, so mutual funds, I invest completely on my own. This is the main thing that I teach, how to choose your mutual funds and how to be self-sufficient in choosing your mutual funds. I don't give investment advice directly because I'm not a certified investment advisor, but I enable you to be able to choose your own mutual funds. Equities, if you are watching very closely, then invest in equities by yourself. My equities were invested for by my dad. He was a very, very active trader, but he made most of his money after his retirement. I mean, I think 50 की उम्र के बाद उन्होंने ज्यादातर पैसे बनाए. He started investing in all his family accounts. We were 6 of us, so all 6 of us had portfolios right from the start. So my equities come from there. My mutual funds are mostly direct mutual funds. I've been investing before direct mutual funds were introduced. So I have some that have, a sub-broker involved. But now I only invest in direct funds. I only invest online, and I highly recommend going that way. But if you feel that nahi, mujhe itni research bhi nahi karni hai, it's completely okay to go through a sub-broker. It is completely okay to take advice, but do learn how to evaluate your advisor.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a follow-up question on this, ma'am. In psychology of money, also they mentioned that your capacity to take risk depends a lot on how your parents behaved around money, and what kind of an environment were you born in, at what era were you born in, and so on and so forth. So my parents were typical service people, and my father was in the army, so they used to have a thing known as DSOP, which was the primary investment for them. And whatever little they saved, they would whatever property they could make, they made it in defense quota only, like whatever. So in AWHO they would have bought a flat based on defense quota and things like that. So in terms of their risk appetite, my dad is very averse credit cards, he's very averse loans, he's very averse equity market. And but I kind of see that even I also have a little risk aversion, but I want to overcome that, because I realized that my father still has a pension because he was in a government job, and he's covered, till the time he lives, and his spouse is covered till the time she lives. But what about me? In my case, that's not the case. So it was okay for him to be risk averse, but I cannot live a life like that. I essentially need to multiply whatever I have. And so far, I've not done anything. It's just been my salary coming in, and at best, I will
I'd
put
like
it
to
in FD.
reassure you, you still got till here. So
Right.
whatever nothing was, it still got you till here. So nothing
Right.
to nahi tha.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to now take investment decisions into your own hands. You want to choose a slightly higher risk appetite than what your parents had. Of course, you can do that. मेरे केस में उल्टा है. My father had a very high risk appetite for investments. I have a very low risk appetite. And trust me, with a low risk appetite also, you can make lots of money.
Right. But ma'am, you still
Only
at
if
least
Only
correct.
if you know enough about it.
Enough about it. And that education part is missing, ma'am, because none of
Yes.
my education kind of empowered me enough for financial decisions.
Yes.
At least I was not maybe interested in that space, but
Shan, I'd like to take a few other questions as well.
sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah. I am tracking the chat from the bottom. So sorry, I'm not being able to give you the sequence in which you put your questions. So the latest question I can see is that, can we keep contributing to PPF beyond 15 years? So what I recently found out is PPF renews for another 15 years. Highly recommend it. After 30 years, it renews 5 years at a time. I've just renewed my mother's PPF for another 5 years. My mom is 76. I am going to keep renewing this as long as they let me. They'll have to push me out of the PPF system to let go of this kind of return.
Yes, ma'am, but will that earn an interest, tax-free interest?
Yes, it will continue to earn tax-free interest. Please
But
keep contributing to it. The minimum contribution is 500 rupees per annum.
Yeah, the period that we know about is 15 years, extendable by 5. So I have run through my 15 and I'm running through the 5 this month. So after this, I guess it will not give me ATC exemption, but can I still?
It will. Even my PPF is older than 15 years. My mother is, she just completed 30 years. I just renewed it for 5 more years.
And it will keep giving me ATC benefit.
Yes, it will keep giving you. ATC benefit is basically the amount you invest. So if you keep investing, it will keep giving you ATC benefit.
Wonderful.
And
Thank you.
Keep the PPF account active, you have to invest at least 500 rupees a year. So I'm sure anybody can do that.
Thank you.
All right. Ruchi, before you take on the next one, I would like to make a small announcement. Ruchi has very kindly agreed to offer a 30-minute complimentary clarity call with anyone who would like to connect with her. So I have shared the Calendly link. In case you would like to schedule your call with her, use this link to schedule a 30-minute complimentary clarity call with Ruchi.
Yeah, you can also use this QR code to scan and you'll see my calendar right away.
Sure.
So book it right away, or you can, just open the web page and book it later.
Thank you, Ruchi. Ruchi, there is another question on PPF. How about investing more than 1.5 lakhs per annum in PPF?
You won't get interest on that. So not a good idea. It's better to put that amount in something else that gets you at least some return.
Okay. Okay, Ruchi, there was one question from Kash, who wants to invite you for a session with educators. Would you be open to that? He wants to know.
So I do group sessions very, very infrequently. I like to do smaller groups. I mainly am very comfortable with one-on-one calls. If you, call me, my number's on the presentation in the next slide. Call me, we can talk about it. And I would be happy to do, a group every now and then, but primarily I'm very anxious, in groups. So I like to talk to people one-on-one.
Kash, I hope that helps your question. There is another one from Kalyani. Ruchi would say, she's asking, what about the market in this current situation, even bank FDs? What are the safe investment options in this current situation, even if the returns are less?
Okay, so Kalyani, like I said, there's no safe investment. Every investment has some amount of risk. FDs also have risk. Liquid funds also have risk. And equity funds also have risks. Equity scripts, direct equity definitely has a lot of risk. But is there a good time to invest and a bad time to invest? No, every time is good to invest, because if you look at the National Stock Exchange started in the year 1999, 1st January 1999. कहाँ से शुरू हुआ था? 800 something. आज कहाँ है? 16-17 हजार कहीं है. कैसे पहुंचा? 22-23 साल में, 24 साल में कैसे पहुंचा यहाँ? Because those companies are there to make profits, to make money. People invest in them, people buy and sell their securities because they are making a product which adds value to the world. So this will continue. Whatever ups and downs come, the market will continue to go in that direction. It will look like that in the short term, but jata aise hi hai.
Yeah.
I think I should switch off my screen share.
Sure.
And anyway, this presentation will go to most people. So if they, yeah.
Friends, we'll request you to raise your hand using the reactions button so that we can take your questions sequentially. There are many questions and it's difficult to toggle on the chat. We may miss something there. Now there's a question from Pragati. Is it okay to invest in mutual funds through a bank app? Heard that they charge a hefty brokerage.
So the brokerage that a bank app charge won't be more than the, investing in any other regular mutual fund. A regular mutual fund is the one which goes through a broker. A direct mutual fund is the one that goes directly and does not involve brokerage to a broker. So whether it's your bank or it's any other broker, the brokerage is all the same. If your bank is charging some other premium over and above that brokerage, it will be a ad hoc amount billed to your account. It will not be hidden in the mutual fund.
बीच में सो गए, हमको कुछ पता ही नहीं. सुन रहे हो?
I think somebody's unmuted accidentally. Direct mutual funds is what I recommend. Only if you know which ones to choose. So if you've already chosen by yourself, you don't need to pay the bank any brokerage. There are other websites that you can invest in, and definitely the website of the mutual fund house itself. Wahan pe you can choose a direct fund, and you don't need to invest through your bank's website. So and it's fine to choose your bank's website also if it's more convenient and comfortable for you. But there is a difference in the returns, and that will keep growing. That difference will keep growing as time progresses.
I think, Ruchi ma'am, it's very important that you conduct one more session on how we can select direct mutual funds. But this will be
actually,
I can do this session in groups of five people. बड़े ग्रुप में मुझे बहुत घबराहट होती है और बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं तो सबके क्वेश्चंस को आंसर नहीं कर पाते. तो आप 5 लोगों का ग्रुप बना लीजिए, मैं रोज कर दूंगी ये सेशन.
So sweet of you.
Thank
The thing, when you answer our queries practically, I think ज्यादा हम अच्छे से बाकी लोग भी समझ पाएंगे. जैसे मेरा मेन ये है कंसर्न कि मैं सिंपल रखना चाहती हूँ अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. I am an MBA in finance, but still I find it difficult. And I want to keep it simple. कि मेरे हाथ में हो सब कुछ. मुझे अभी ब्रोकर को बोलना पड़ता है कि हाँ भाई
कौन से शहर से हो?
I'm in गुड़गांव.
You're in गुड़गांव. बॉम्बे में ना चारों तरफ DSP के होर्डिंग्स लगे हुए हैं. Till you figure out the best fund, invest in index funds. I don't know गुड़गांव में लगा है कि नहीं.
नहीं.
But अभी मैंने पिछले 1-2 दिन में देखे हैं. मैंने कहा हाँ सही है यार.
हाँ ये भी हमने पढ़ा था कि और कुछ नहीं आता है तो निफ्टी में और इसमें इंडेक्स फंड्स में उसमें डाल दो, निफ्टी 20 में डाल दो, गोल्ड 20 में डाल दो. So I want to know about an app कि मैं डायरेक्ट उसमें निकालना डालना खुद कर सकूं. मुझे
क्लैरिटी कॉल बोलना पड़ेगा. I will guide you a little bit. And if we are doing a group session for, the 5 people ka group bana lete ho, so I will do a group session also.
I've just scheduled my personal chat with you in your calendar.
Sure,
जो link
sure,
आया था उसमें
Sure.
20
And if I get
27.
messages from different people wanting to learn about how to invest in a mutual fund, I'll create the group. That's not a problem. And I think 1 or 2 sessions में मैं बहुत आराम से सिखा सकती हूँ. मैं ये करती हूँ. This is what I teach. This is what I'm passionate of. Telling people कि इसमें invest कर लो and then 3 years later they come back to me saying वो investment तो fail हो गया. वो नहीं करना मुझे. आप सक्षम बनो. That is my objective.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to know. और बहुत updates चाहिए होता है इसमें. मार्केट इतना तरीके चेंज हो रहे हैं.
Actually नहीं चाहिए होता
हो
है.
रही है.
Actually नहीं चाहिए होता है. You choose that segment कि मुझे तो कोई न्यूज नहीं सुननी, मुझे तो कोई न्यूज़पेपर नहीं पढ़ना, कुछ ट्रैक नहीं करना. मुझे कभी कोई फोन करके बोलता है बड़े मार्केट बहुत गिर गया. I was like अच्छा. Then I go look at my portfolio. I said हाँ थोड़ा डिप तो हुआ है. तो is it still feeling enough for me? And then I say हाँ इतने पैसे कल परसों में तो नहीं खत्म होंगे. अगर खत्म हो गए तो देख लेंगे.
True.
और तब तक कुछ और इन्वेस्टमेंट आ जाएगा.
लगता है. So my father used to tell me उसमें ज्यादा डालते रहो इंटरेस्ट आ जाएगा, but I was not sure about it. तो मैंने कभी भी 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा पीपीएफ में नहीं डाला.
पीपीएफ में 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा नहीं डाल सकते.
हाँ, तो वही इसीलिए आज मुझे फाइनल हुआ कि नहीं इंटरेस्ट नहीं मिलेगा, सो नो यूज. पापा बोलते हैं डालते रहो इंटरेस्ट मिलता रहेगा. उनको अपडेट नहीं होगा.
Shall we go on to the next question? Are there any? I'm not able to follow the chat really, but Ashish, are there any?
Yeah, sure. There are questions, and I would request once again to raise your hands so that we can pick that up. Failing which, I'll take this question from Jogesh. His question is, how can one increase knowledge in mutual fund as self-knowledge is important rather than recommendation by agents? My investments are purely in PF, NPS, and LIC. Can you also suggest on corporate bonds or higher yield bond FDs?
Yeah, so corporate bonds also you can invest in, but they are also risky. I think you're leaning towards debt-based investments. You definitely need a little more equity and equity-based mutual funds in your portfolio. So, book a clarity call with me. I will try and answer some questions for you on the phone itself. And if you feel that you need more detail or specific answers, then we can look at scheduling a session.
How do we schedule a session with you, please?
You can message me and we'll just talk on the phone and we can schedule a session.
Yeah, maybe Ruchi, if you could share the slide with your number, I think this is a good time for us.
Yeah, all right, I'll do that. Just give me a second.
So we have shared a Calendly link in the chat. You can use that link to schedule a session. I am sharing that link once again. Alternatively, you can make a note of Ruchi's phone number, which she's going to share, and you can schedule a session with her directly.
Yeah, can you see the slide?
Yes, we can.
I'm not putting it on slideshow. Is it readable?
No, please let it be on for a little while.
Sure, I'll leave it on.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have another few minutes, I hope, Ashish. Is there any other question?
A lot of positive comments, Ruchi. I'll share them with you for you to go through them and savor them.
Yes, I'd love to savor them.
Yeah, a lot of positive feedback from everyone. So the latest feedback is from Priya. Thank you, Ruchi. This was a very insightful, fantastic session. There's one from Meghna. Thank you very much, Ruchi, for fabulous session. She calls you rich, which is interesting.
So I've been called Richie Rich in my school days.
Yeah. So Ruchi Rich.
नहीं वो बचपन से ही रुचि है, which means hobby or interest, and I am inclined towards the other meaning of interest.
Ruchi, is it a good idea to invest in senior citizen savings scheme? I am already pretty senior because there's a lock-in for 5 years.
I don't really know what the details of the scheme exactly are, so I can't answer your question offhand. I will have to look it up, read it up. But see, any scheme involves putting your fund at the disposal and at the investing abilities of a certain set of people. Now, if you trust those people, yes, of course, go ahead. If you don't know enough about them, but just because it's a government scheme, it sounds safe, I would not advise, taking that path. So whether it's a mutual fund or a senior citizen scheme or, insurance scheme, they are all investments done by somebody, but they have different perspectives. In a senior citizen scheme also, I feel, and I don't know for sure, but I feel that they would have a inclination towards keeping it more safe. And more safe means less returns.
Yeah, they announce the interest rate every quarter, but
Okay.
there's a lock-in period of 5 years. So that's the catch.
What's the interest rate?
It is at the moment 8%.
So 8% is a good interest rate. And 5 साल का lock-in तो लिया जा सकता है. So I really don't know much about this scheme, so not even to comment more. But I know PPF का interest rate 7.1 है. So 8 is better than 7.1.
Okay.
But PPF में invest करना continue करें.
Because it's interest-free, tax-free.
Yes, because it's tax-free.
Thank you.
All right, Ruchi, there's one feedback I would like to read to you, which is from Mukta. Ruchi, you are so relatable and so content and happy in your own space. Glad to know you. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
So friends, on that positive note, we will draw the session to a close, but this is not the end of the conversation, but rather beginning of an association. Over the next 1 or 2 days, you will receive an email which will have Ruchi's coordinates, which will also have the Calendly link. So in case you have missed scheduling the session with her today, you could use that email and do that. We will also share her coordinates in that email and phone number for you to stay connected. And a lot of you have expressed a desire to be a part of our group. So I'm sure Ruchi will be reaching out, connecting with you and doing that. And before we close, I would like to thank Rohan for introducing Ruchi to me and for suggesting that we have this session. So thank you, Rohan, very, very much. As you can see for yourself, this session has been received so well. Thank you, each one. Yes, Rohan.
Yeah, I just wanted to add is that I'm one big testimony to Ruchi's ability. I had no portfolio. I think 2010-11 when we got married, that time Ruchi was shocked कि इतनी पढ़ाई करी, finance में MBA कर लिया और कुछ portfolio नहीं बनाया. And so I started investing and I thought अब इतना late क्या फायदा? But over last few years I have seen money growing. Last 2 years actually I've seen my portfolio really doing well. And so therefore I will tell anyone. So my favorite question was that कि पैसे तो है नहीं अभी बचाने को खर्च करने वाले. So
Rohan insisted I put that question in the, and I was like, no, I don't have a clear answer to that. And he was like, he came back again and said, नहीं वो वाला सवाल डालो. So
that अभी invest करने को पैसे हैं नहीं. So I have benefited a lot from financial discipline because of her guidance. तो मैं उसको घर की लक्ष्मी अलग-अलग तरह से बोलता हूँ. Because of her, Lakshmi started coming in my life as well. Or it started staying in. Actually, it came, but वो filter होके निकल जाती थी.
And she's dressed in red also today. Lakshmi का color में ही वो है. Very nice. Thank you, Rohan. And thank you, friends, everybody, for taking our time and joining us today. Have a wonderful weekend and stay connected with us. Choose to become a part of the Mindful Living community so that you stay connected with the awesome sessions we conduct every weekend. Our session next weekend is going to be on womb healing, which is a session exclusively for women. Even I'm not coming in to host it. So it'll be only for the women. Please take out time, stay tuned and join the session on womb healing next Saturday at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchi. Thank you, Ashish.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Ruchi.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.